There we go. Now you can hear me. There we go. Okay, so I haven't really set this up for my live stream yet. It's more set up for something else, or at least the stream deck. So, good morning, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Hold up, I gotta go fix something real quick. Hold on. No, I'm on page 2. That's why. Hold on. Okay, how's that sounding? Much better? It looked like the audio was coming in kind of hot. All right. Good morning. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to all of you filmmakers and tech enthusiasts, tech enthusiasts. My name is, here, I got a lower third for that. My name is Brian. I am a cinematographer located here in the Chicagoland area. And I am goo goo gaga for like all things tech, more than anything like camera tech. So I get a lot of that feed into my Google feed, like my Google News, or whenever I open up Google Chrome. It shows you like, hey, you might be interested in this. So I scroll through and I'm like, hey, that looks interesting. So then I'll open it in another tab and then I'll start reading or whatever. So that's how I get my news. And I thought, hey, wouldn't it be a great idea if I were to share my feed with you? At least what I thought was interesting. And so hoping maybe we can find a connection there. But anyways, a few things that we're going to talk about today is Netflix. First on the list is Netflix has officially rejected the ARRI Alexa 265. The ARRI Alexa 265 from its approved camera list. I'll tell you about that in a minute. Panasonic has launched a new 4K camcorders. Now, I love camcorders. Camcorders were my first love, and I honestly prefer camcorders. Well, mostly for like for this kind of stuff. Camcorders are great, but in an area where you need kind of, I guess, a mirrorless camera or DSLR, then sure. If you're trying to pull off some like Bocalicious stuff, I mean, you can get Bocalicious with a camcorder if you know how. But anyways, that's coming up as well. Also, if you haven't already heard, this happened a while ago, but the red KOMODO price has dropped a whopping $2,000. Now, this is the RF model. Honestly, I think there's a lot more going on behind the curtain than what we actually see. And so I have a theory on that. Well, not necessarily a theory, but more like a connection to what's been going on with Red and such. So as always, this is a live discussion. So jump into chat, drop your thoughts, and let's talk about filmmaking tech. So first and foremost, and I have it here on my laptop, I'm going to share my screen with you as soon as I find the right page on my switcher. Let's see. As soon as I find the right page on my, not switcher, but on my stream deck. So, a little different setup than what we're normally used to. I don't have my video switcher here in front of me, so I'm not switching off of that. Also, I don't have any audio devices, mixers, or anything. I'm trying to go very minimalistic. Mainly because I don't want to have, once I do set up my studio, rearrange my studio for a premium podcasting studio. So I'm going to do multiple shows in here, not just my show, but I have other shows like the Filmmaker Forum, the What You On podcast. What else? There's the In the Driver's Seat, and maybe Higher Thinking Live might make a comeback. Who knows? I'm still thinking about it. And then anybody else that wants to come and use the studio, they can just come in, sit down. There won't be any gear in here. You'll be ready to rock and roll. Just sit down and start crunching away. The producer desk is going to be over there with all the equipment. and then I'll still also be able to manage everything from right here. So with that, I'm using a Stream Deck to do all of that. So I can switch cameras from here. I can display graphics like the one you saw this morning, like that lower thirds. I can display graphics that way. I can show a countdown, start a countdown, and such. So there's a lot that you can do with the Stream Deck, and it's pretty cool. I'm having fun with it. I'm still getting it ready, mainly because I'm going to be using this for a live stream event coming up in a couple of weeks, and I want to streamline everything, because I used to have to, okay, I'm running graphics on this laptop, and then I'm going to go on this laptop and then update the graphics and yada yada yada. These are live graphics, and so they can be changed live. These are not like pre-made graphics, pre-made lower thirds or anything like that. And so another thing is like OBS. I can control OBS through here as well. So if I have multiple sources in OBS, anyways, yeah. So this is kind of like a much simpler setup, and all the equipment is behind the camera, next to the producer desk, which also I'm working on a live streaming rack. So essentially, everything that I need for live streaming will be in one specific case, and you won't have to move it from there. It's just unplug power, unplug whatever external sources are connected to it, and then grab and go. All right, so without further ado, let's go on to the first topic. If you're in the chat, let me see who's here with me live real quick. I'm just going to open all this up. I don't think... Unplug power, unplug whatever. Whoops. Okay, so we muted that. All right, I can see that. And then let me refresh that. I'm going to close this one. Yeah, so I guess one thing I got to work on is setting up a return with the live stream, so that way I can see what's going on with people's... Okay, here's the chat. I just want to get the chat window open. Okie dokie, man. Bro. Okay, geez, why? It shouldn't be that difficult. Okay, all right. Let's keep moving on. So here we are with the first thing. Where is laptop with cam? There we go. Okay, so Netflix rejects the ARRI Alexa 265 for their approved list. Now, what does this mean? It's ARRI. Like, what the heck? First of all, what does it mean to be on the Netflix approved list as far as cameras are concerned? Now, this has been talked about in the past, and it's something that I first learned about when I started working at ProCam, mainly because a camera that I was looking at had a special, not necessarily a feature, but bit of information that kind of helped boost sales. And that was that it was Netflix approved. It was on the Netflix approved list. And so that was kind of like, I used that as a boost for the sales, to try to sell the camera. Anyways, it's the Panasonic S1H. So I first got into Panasonic. I was a Canon shooter for quite a long time. My first DSLR was a Canon T3i, and then I had that for a long time. And then I went over to like Lumix and the G7, which was great. It was a great 4K camera. But, the sensor was too small. It was a little noisy. in certain situations. And then I'm like, okay, let me try something else. I got into Sony, the A5000, A5100, and then fast forward. Those were great cameras. They were awesome. I used them for vlogging, which was what I was doing a lot back then. And then I got into like the Canon SL2 further down the line, and which was also a great camera. It's so small, great autofocus, and I really enjoyed that camera a lot. I used that one a lot for vlogging. And then I got into, let's see, SL2. I started getting lenses. I started working at Program, getting lenses. And then it's like I started learning more about high-end video. And then it's like, what camera system should I go to next? So then I started thinking about full frame, and Panasonic offered the best features from a full frame camera. You had internal 422 10-bit. You had like, it was a 6K sensor, 4K resolution. This is the Panasonic S1, the very first Panasonic full frame camera. After that came out the S1H, and then once like the S1H had everything you wanted in a professional camera. Only thing it didn't do very well was the autofocus. Autofocus is terrible. Other than that, it was a pretty good camera. So, anyways, long story short, what really excited me about the camera was that it was Netflix approved. That, you know, you could talk it up. You can say, hey, this is Netflix approved. You can shoot a Netflix original with this camera. But what does it mean to be Netflix approved? Like, what is all that? What are you talking about? So I can buy this camera, I can own this camera or use this camera, make a movie, and Netflix is gonna buy it? Nope, not exactly, not at all. So Netflix approved, and again, this has been talked about widely. If you haven't heard yet, if you're still like living under a rock, which is fine, it's okay. You don't know what you don't know, but to be Netflix approved means that it's approved to shoot a Netflix original. Okay, so here's the thing: I've seen movies on Netflix that were filmed. I mean, a lot of movies on Netflix were filmed on cameras that are not on the list because Netflix purchased those films or got rights for those films to be put on their platform. I saw a movie. It was a documentary. It's like a travel documentary about this couple that traveled. They converted a school bus to like a moving home, like a rolling. It was like an RV in a sense. And what really irked me was that the entire time there was a speck of dust on the lens that really bothered me the whole time. And I was just like, other than the drone shots, but mostly like in their vlogging shots, like. Because they filmed it together. It was more of like a vlog, travel documentary vlog, whatever. But it was on Netflix. And it wasn't a Netflix original. But yeah. And then I realized, I'm like, hey, you know what? I could make a movie and sell it to Netflix. I mean, this is terrible. Like, and this goes back to like the most important thing when it comes to filmmaking, which is have a great story. It's not about the camera. It's not about the lenses. It's not about any of that jazz. It's about having a compelling story, having a story that people can relate to, having a story that where people would feel like good escaping their normal lives, escaping, reality for a moment and getting engulfed into somebody else's story or whatever, impacted in some way. That is the most important thing. Okay, so don't get it twisted. All right, because having the best camera, having the best lenses, it's not going to automatically give you the best movie. Okay, so but what this is trying to say is like, being Netflix approved just means that the camera is approved to be used on a Netflix original. So if Netflix is hiring your team to shoot a Netflix original, then that's where you would get on this list and select your camera from there. Okay, find your camera from there. Now, you don't necessarily have to buy it. You can rent it. There's a lot of cameras on there, not just ARRI. There's Blackmagic. There's Canon. We can take a look at the list in a minute. But let's go back to the Alexa 265. Now, this is the second generation of the 65 millimeter camera. And if we go, we dive deep into this article and we see Netflix rejects ARRI Alexa 265 from approved camera list, and here's why. So the article starts right here. So ARRI's latest flagship camera, the Alexa 265, was announced in late 2024 as a revolutionary leap in digital cinematography, featuring the ALEV3X medium format sensor. So the Alexa 265 employs a cutting-edge design where 3 sensors are seamlessly stitched together to create an ultra-high resolution image. However, this very innovation appears to have raised red flags at Netflix's stringent approval process. So here's the problem, right, with this sensor technology. There's 3 sensors that are stitched together, and so let's read a little bit more and see where the problem is at. While ARRI's Alexa 65 has been widely accepted despite its multi-panel sensor design, Netflix has reportedly drawn the line with the Alexa 265. According to internal sources, the streaming giant has received complaints from high-end home theater users who claim to have noticed faint stitched lines in certain high-contrast scenes when watching Netflix originals on premium displays. It's not about resolution or color science, explained a source close to the matter. Netflix is concerned about the visibility of stitched sensor seams on high-end OLED and micro OLED home theater systems. With consumer complaints rising, they have decided to prohibit any future cameras with stitch sensors from their approved list. ARRI, known for its meticulous engineering, has already conducted extensive internal testing to ensure seamless integration of the 3 sensor panels in the Alexa 265. However, Netflix has reportedly requested additional third-party validation, delaying any potential certification until further notice. So you can see how big that sensor is. That sensor is massive. You put a full-frame sensor next to that one, that full-frame sensor is going to look small. Okay, what else? Beyond technical concerns, a more unexpected factor may have contributed to Netflix's decision: a strategic shift toward lower-budget productions. As reported last year, Netflix has increasingly favored affordable filmmaking solutions over extravagant high-end gear. At an estimated price exceeding $300,000 per body, the ARRI Alexa 265 is the most expensive digital cinema camera on the market today. $300,000 is crazy for a camera. Of course, you're not going to buy the camera unless you're insanely rich. You don't really buy a camera like that. You rent it. And so Netflix, in an effort to encourage more independent and cost-effective filmmaking, may have deliberately excluded the camera to promote more accessible tools. Netflix originals have always been about storytelling over technology. That's exactly what I was saying. An industry analyst commented, with production costs rising, the platform is focusing on efficiency. Approving the Alexa 265 could be seen as endorsing ultra-premium productions, which contradicts their recent approach to lower-cost filmmaking. So I mean, about that, honestly, if it costs what it costs. It costs what it costs to make the movie. It's just a cost of doing business. Whether they're favoring like lower budgeted films over like, you know, these fancy ones with the fancy cameras and the fancy sets and whatnot, like it is what it is. It's all about the story. It's all about the script. It's all about the screenplay, the storyline, and you know, finding the right camera to cover that, to cover all the bases, to make sure that The camera is just a tool, and it costs what it costs. I don't think just because you have an expensive camera, should you be like, oh no, we're not gonna, we're not going to buy your film, or we're not gonna use that camera because it's too expensive. And filmmakers, we're trying to push lower, budget films and whatnot. I really don't think that would be the case. I don't know where they're getting this from. If they got that directly from Netflix, whether Netflix said that or if they're just speculating. But honestly, like, it costs what it costs. Like, if you want high quality, if you need a specific camera to shoot a specific scene, then there's really no way around it. It just costs what it costs. If you have to use the Alexa 265 because it has a special feature, or it's a specific type of camera that you need for a specific scene or a specific shot, then it is what it is. What else can I say about that, really? So what does this mean for filmmakers? The rejection of the Alexa 265 raises critical questions about the significance of Netflix-approved camera list. I don't know. As explored in a recent analysis, some of the most iconic Netflix productions have utilized cameras not on the official list. Well, duh. Proving that the creative decisions often transcend. So, I don't know. Hold on. Let me finish this paragraph. While ARRI is expected to engage with Netflix to resolve these concerns, the current ruling underscores an important shift in the industry, one where affordability and workflow integration may outweigh pure image quality and sensor size. Bruh. For now, filmmakers looking to shoot Netflix originals must rely on the Alexa LF, Alexa Mini LF, Alexa 65, or the ARRI 35, Alexa 35. Leaving the Alexa 265 in an unexpected limbo. Again, it's about having the right tools to tell the story, or what you can afford. Of course, it's always what you can afford. But if you can afford to rent an Alexa 265, if you can afford to rent these bigger cameras, these expensive cameras, then why not? They have beautiful image, beautiful color science, great dynamic range. Of course, you can always go with a lower tiered with the same dynamic range. Red has some cameras with similar dynamic range. Blackmagic has cameras with similar dynamic range. Blackmagic color science is absolutely, amazing. And, the only issue with Blackmagic is that they're not always reliable, right? A camera like a company like ARRI has built a reputation of being reliable. Like, you can get, let me see real quick. ARRI Alexa. So the ARRI Alexa Classic was released in April of 2010. It's still a great camera today. It looks beautiful. Of course, it's only 1080, but it looks so good. The color science is amazing. It's like I said, it's 1080, but it's got a super 35 millimeter sensor, so it's not a full frame at 2.8K. And you can get one today for about $3,000. $3,000 for a 15-year-old camera. $3,000. I saw one. The reason I said $3,000 is because I saw one for $3,000. I wonder what they're going for. Let's see what they're going. Because I know last year they were going for like $10,000, or last couple of years they've been going for $10,000. So let's see. ARRI Alexa. Real quick. Let's go see what they're actually being sold for. Oh, that's a mini Alexa Mini for 20. Did it update? 2,500 for that one, 3,500 for that one, $4,000 for that one. So it really depends on the kit that you buy. It's not bad, because I think last year or a couple of years ago, when I was kind of just browsing, I seen them for like $10,000. But yeah, they dropped on quite a bit. But it's still like a 15-year-old camera for $3,000, you know? So let's see, where are we at? I think that article. Final thoughts. Netflix's decision to reject the Alexa 265 is without question a landmark moment in digital cinematography. While the camera itself represents a significant technological leap, it seems that both its cutting-edge sensor design and its staggering cost have kept it off the coveted list for now. The debate over whether this was a purely technical decision or a strategic move by Netflix will undoubtedly continue, leaving filmmakers to wonder. In the age of high budget streaming wars, is bigger always better? Come on, dude. I think they're just trying to ruffle some feathers with this article, with that speculation. Honestly, like, ARRI, what do you guys think? Like, let me see what's going on in the chats. Nothing. Yeah, so again, it costs what it costs. Now, if you want a reliable camera, a beautiful camera, industry standard camera, a camera that's gonna like possibly get you through the door, then you're gonna want an ARRI, you know, because and another thing about the approved list, right? It doesn't mean that the whole film has to be shot on an approved list camera. It just means like 90% of the final cut, 90% of the film must be used must be a camera used from the list, from the approved list. So you still have like 10% of like, okay, I need to put a GoPro there, or maybe I need a Blackmagic micro camera there. You know, does that make sense? Because I know, well, and that's only if you're shooting Netflix originals. If you're shooting a film and you plan to sell to Netflix, which honestly, you talk about distribution before you start shooting, right? You plan all that stuff beforehand, not afterwards. Like, okay, let me shoot a film. Okay, now let me find distribution. Okay, because why? Like, all these platforms have different requirements when it comes to like black balancing, resolution specs, video specs, codecs, and stuff like that. So again, it's like you want to make sure that's going to also dictate which camera you're going to need for the film. So it's like, you want to take a look at the list real quick? We can take a look at it. Let's see, Netflix. Oh, I think there was a link there. There was a, come on, all these ads, Joe. Go back. Where's the list? I saw the link. Honestly, where is the link? Okay, let me just Netflix approved cameras. Here we go. Okay, so here's the list. Netflix partner help censor. You can, yeah. So you got capture requirements, right? So you've got minimum resolution, codecs, like I was saying, bit depth, like I was saying. So this is Netflix approved, right? So this is for Netflix originals. Data rates, color space, color sign. So you got Sony S-Gamut 3, Alexa wide gamut, red wide gamut. You know, so you want to shoot like RAW essentially. DaVinci wide gamut, or what is it on Blackmagic cameras? It's just film. On the camera itself, it's called film. But when you go into post, I don't remember. Transfer function. So this is shooting on log, right? I think Blackmagic. This is just B-RAW, the color space for Blackmagic, and then this is film for the log profile, color profile. Timecode system is capable of jamming to an external source. Timecode should be written as metadata. So timecode is, so this is all the cameras. You got ARRI, Canon, Panasonic, Red, Panavision, Sony, Blackmagic, and DJI. So DJI, you got the drone, DJI Inspire. So you got some drone shots that you need, you know, there's that. But ARRI cameras, again, The Alexa LF, Alexa Mini, the Alexa 65, and Alexa 35 are the 4 cameras on the list. Canon has the C300 Mark II. That's on the list. It shoots. This is external. I believe it shoots externally for Canon RAW. C300 Mark III to C500, Mark II, C500, C700, C700 full frame. C70 is Netflix approved. Wow. The R5C is Netflix approved. The C400 is approved. C80, Panasonic. So the Vericam 35, the LT, the Pure, the Panasonic EVA1, S1H. S1H was the first mirrorless camera that got on the list. And that was kind of like, that opened the doors for all the other smaller cameras like the R5C and such. So then you got the BGH1, is a crash. You can use that as a crash cam. The BS1H. Red has a lot of cameras on here as well. That's a ton of cameras. The Komodo. Did I see the Komodo? Oh, that's there's the Komodo 6K, the V Raptor. V Raptor's insane. It's an insane camera. And then you got Blackmagic. Yeah, the other ones. Sony. What's on the Sony? The Venice 2, the Venice 2 8K, the Burano's on there, the FX9, the F55. Oh wow, the F65, the FS7 is on there. FS7 and FS7 Mark II, the F5. Interesting. The FX6 is on there. Oh wow, I didn't know the FX6 was on there. Wow, a lot more cameras were added since I last checked this out. FX3 is on there. Dang, everybody's been working. Okay, Blackmagic, the Ursa Mini 4.6K is on there. The Ursa Mini Pro 4.6. What? Oh, there's a Mini and then there's the Pro. The G2 is on there. The 12K OLPF is on there. The Ursa Cine 12K LF, which is a full frame 12K sensor. It's one of their latest cameras. They're also, I don't know if the 17K medium format sensor, when that's going to come out, but anyways, that's pretty much the gist of it. So, and again, these cameras, you really only have to use these cameras when you're shooting a Netflix original. So don't get it twisted. Just because you own one of these cameras doesn't mean Netflix is going to buy your film. But that doesn't also mean that that if you use like a Canon 70D, which I know somebody that made a documentary using a Canon 70D and sold it to Netflix. So Netflix will buy it if there's a good story. You know, if it's a good topic, it's a good story, it's compelling, captivating, then, Netflix could buy it. All right, so moving on to the next thing. Let me see what's going on in the chat. Nothing. All right, so next topic, next area of discussion is the Tascam. Now, this is Tascam is not widely used in filmmaking. It's more used for like audio professionals, musicians, wedding filmmakers, event filmmakers, stuff like that. Hardly that. Tascam has been known for like a lot of music stuff, but doesn't mean that they don't put out a great product. I've owned 2 Tascam DR40s. Let's see what else. I have, or did I sell it? I might have sold it. I had a Tascam XLR recorder, which was pretty cool. You just plug it in at the end of the microphone, and then you just hit record, and it starts recording. Well, that leads me to this. Now, 32-bit has kind of become standard in the audio world when it comes to like field recording, mainly because it's very helpful in situations where you can't control the loudness levels like instantly, or like it's spontaneous, and that's where 32-bit float comes in handy, right? And especially if you're like a solo filmmaker and you're doing audio yourself, you're operating the camera, you're setting up lights by yourself. Having a 32-bit audio recorder helps because now you don't have to worry about, you don't have to monitor audio, you don't have to set levels every time. You can just focus on capturing whatever it is that you're capturing, the scene or what have you, and then the audio. As long as, I mean, obviously you got to practice good audio recording techniques, but then again, like, there's a lot less to worry about. I know a lot of times where it's like I set, especially when I was on set, I was the only person on set, and I was the cinematographer, and they didn't have a sound person, so then I had to set up audio. And I'm like, look, I'm the cinematographer. I'm not an audio expert, but I have the basic audio tools. So I'm gonna set it, and I'm just gonna leave it, and that's that. What you get is what you get, because I'm not gonna sit there and monitor audio, but then also monitor, operate and monitor the camera, focusing, exposing, yada yada yada, all that jazz, framing. Like, there's a lot going on, and so, but then when I go back in post, it's like, the audio's trash. It's clipping. There was a noise or something going on in the background, and who knows what, or yada yada yada. It was a lot of cleaning up in post, and so it was pretty annoying. It was mostly the clipping that really kills audio. Clipping, having that distortion is just really, really bad for audio. And so that's where a tool like this would come in handy. Now, Zoom recently released the H1 XLR, which is very similar to the Tascam FR-AV2. It's 2 channels. It's 32-bit float. The only difference is the Tascam has a what's it called? A time code generator. I think you have to use a Bluetooth adapter for this. Or let's see, no, it has a built-in generator function that acts as a master for timecode synchronization between devices. Now, timecode is awesome. I love timecode. I love using timecode. And having timecode saves a ton of time when it comes to aligning clips in post, aligning your different shots, different cameras, especially if you're doing like a 3-camera shoot, and then you've got to sync everything. You can sync everything with using timecode. As long as you have a timecode on each camera. A lot of higher end cameras, cinema cameras, have timecode where you can jam sync it. So you take a timecode device, jam it, and then you can. Now this has a generator, so that means that you can use the timecode generator off the Tascam, and then you can jam sync it to camera. So it really depends on the connection that you have to make with the camera to sync it. So here we can see you got timecode out and you got timecode in, so you can even jam sync the recorder as well. So timecode out, you would hook up like a 3.5 millimeter stereo cable to that, and with Blackmagic you can jam sync it on both the XLR port, I believe, and then also on the stereo 3.5 millimeter stereo port. And then it'll jam sync that way. So that's the great thing about this. Now, I have the H1 XLR, and I bought it because it has 32-bit float recording, but then it doesn't have timecode. You can't jam sync it. It doesn't have a generator. Mainly because it was dirt cheap. It was really, really cheap. It's only $150. I don't know how much this thing is. It doesn't really say. But 32-bit float is where it's at. So let me see real quick how much this thing is. Is there a link somewhere? And it's really small too. Like, it's so tiny. Look at this. Look how big this thing is. Okay. I'm just gonna copy this. Yeah, like $400. Okay, so you're paying for what's it called? $250 more for just to have timecode. Is it worth it? Nah, for a smaller device like that, I don't think so. Because syncing, as long as you capture the audio just fine, you can sync through waveform as long as you capture the audio on a camera just fine. it's gotten really, really good in post-production. So there's that. Let's move on. I don't want to spend too much time on that. It's not really that crazy of a thing that was released. So here we got the Panasonic CX370. Now, I like camcorders. I really, really like camcorders. It's just pick it up and go, ready to rock and roll. You can set it on auto and just set it and forget it. You can, run and gun with it. You've got lately you've got the really, really good zoom, and now they're making them even better. So this camcorder can do 10-bit 4K recording, which, a lot of cameras are doing that nowadays, but still 10-bit 4K on a camcorder. It's got Vlog as well, HLG. Where my computer froze? It was lagging or something. You've got built-in streaming with SRT. Oh, you got SDI output terminal. So I like SDI. I can use that for live streaming. Hooking up to like an ATEM would be great. So you got 4K output via simultaneous 4K output via SDI HDMI. It's got integrated gen lock, which is also good for broadcast if you're doing like virtual production. So a lot of what happens? You see, like, you're in the news anchor is in a green screen environment. Even the desk might be green. Like everything could be green, and they use a camera like this with SDI output and gen lock. Then you can essentially set that camera up and put the news anchor in any environment, any newsroom environment. Like, it can be completely virtual, and you can move the camera around, and the environment will move with the camera. Everything will look like as if it was real. It was like they were actually there. XLR inputs, sure, it's fine. That's pretty normal. A mini jack input will support the 4 external cameras, or external microphones, 4 channels. Let's see, what else? Some of the specs that I really look for in a camera are, the bit depth, bit rate, and then the output of that. So if you got 4K 60, 10-bit, this website is very laggy. There must be a lot of things running on this website. 10-bit variable frame rate, 24-bit PCM, which is, it's fine. It's fine. Dual memory card slots. It's got the built-in, streaming, which is really cool, because then now you can do like a stream bridge. If, let's say you have a reporter or someone that's out in the field, and they can send the news station or your stream environment, they can send them a feed, and they can patch it using a stream bridge. You can patch them into the current setup and then have them coming in as a source, and then switch to that source whenever you're ready to rock and roll. It's just a whole thing. Time gen lock in, time code in and out. So yeah, really cool. I like camcorders. If you like camcorders, let me know in the comments. Next thing on the list. Oh, this is just kind of like a what? This is kind of like a nah. Oh, it's like I saw the headline. Popular Illinois eatery named best pizza place in the entire state. Now, I'm born and raised Chicago. I love Chicago pizza. New York pizza's okay, but we're talking about the best pizza place in the entire state of Illinois. It's a pretty bold statement. It's pretty freaking bold. Like, okay, I haven't read this yet, and so I'm really eager to see where this best pizza place in the state is at. So, do you have a favorite Illinois pizza spot? Okay, some of my favorites, real quick. Some of my favorites are, okay, number one, Giordano's. I love Giordano's. I'm a Giordano's guy, okay? Illuminati's, nah. You just don't cut it for me. I do not like Giordano's. I'm sorry. Oh, what did I say? I don't like Illuminati's. You can't even pay me to eat. Okay, man, you can probably pay me to eat Illuminati's, but I won't eat it even if it was free. Maybe I'll eat it if it was free. I'm not trying to lie, okay? I'm not trying to be like, oh, all high and mighty and whatnot. I love Giordano's. Giordano's is my spot. Like, when we were growing up, it was always Bella Rose, Bella Rose, Bella Rose, Bella Rose. It was in Des Plaines. We grew up in Des Plaines, and right down the street there was Bella Rose. Bella Rose was amazing. Bella Rose burnt down. We were all sad. It's like, what are we gonna do for pizza now? It's like, what? Where are we gonna go? Even when we moved to Elk Grove, it was always Bella Rose. We drove all the way to Des Plaines, which wasn't that far really, but it was like maybe a 20 minute drive from Elk Grove to Bella Rose. But we drove there to get Bella Rose pizza. But again, Bella Rose burnt down, and so what was left? What was of the world? Where were we gonna get pizza from? Nothing was like Bella Rose. Giordano's. Who discovered Giordano's? I don't know who in my family discovered Giordano's. How I even started eating Giordano's, but it was like just like Bella Rose. It was exactly like Bella Rose, and so man, I'm getting hungry just thinking about this, or just talking about this. But anyways. Like Bella Rose was just absolute. Giordano's was just exactly like Bella Rose, and so right then and there, I fell in love with Giordano's. It was always Giordano's. We always ordered Giordano's. Always ate Giordano's, and then the first time I had Illuminati's, I was with a friend, and I think I was like, "Oh, what's Illuminati's or whatever," and then I ate it, and it was just I don't remember when it was, but it was a long time ago, and I did not like it at all. It was terrible. I don't like I don't like the crust. I don't like the dough, how they prepare their dough. I don't like the sauce. I don't like the cheese. I don't like anything from Illuminati's. Again, if it's free and I don't have to buy lunch, and sure, whatever, I'll have a slice or two. But anything that's similar to Giordano's, like Paisans, is pretty close to Giordano's. I don't remember. I've had Pequods, but I don't remember ever leaving an impact on me. But anyways, okay, so there is one pizza place in each state known for serving the most delicious slices around, regardless of your topping preferences. This one of a kind restaurant serves up a variety of pies utilizing high quality ingredients that keep customers coming back for more. While there are a handful of pizza places scattered across Illinois, a handful, more than a handful, bro. Only one is revered as the best around, and rightfully so. You've been searching for the most mouth-watering pizza in Illinois. We've got just a list for you. A list? According to the list compiled by Love Food, the best pizza place in all of Illinois is Pequods. Pequods. Yada, 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 yada. Here's what Love Food had to say about Pequods. I really don't care. I don't know. Who likes Pequods? Let me know in the chat. Let me see. Anybody in the chat that loves Pequods? No. I don't know if this is getting updated or not. It looks like it's pretty live. Yeah. Okay. So Pequods. I haven't had Pequods in a long time. It's been well over 10 years since I've had Pequods. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to go to Pequods and see for myself. So next topic. What time is it right now? 8:20. Yeah, we can finish. We've only got 4 more. Nope. Yeah. 3 more things to talk about. 3 more things. If you haven't already heard about this, it's not new information. It's not new news, but it's kind of like, for me, I have a theory on, not necessarily a theory, but like more of like a speculation, an interesting perspective, I guess we can say. So the red KOMODO RF Mount Camera price drop now $2,995. That's $2,000 off. It's original price plus new firmware update. So you can now get a red Komodo RF for $3,000, which is very, 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 very interesting. Now about this, like, here's my perspective of all of this. That's really cool. You can get a pretty good camera for $3,000, like a really, really, really good camera. It's a really good camera, I'm not gonna lie. So let me see. Let me just pull up the red Komodo 6K RF specs. Okie dokie smoky. Let's see. Let me look. I hate doing. I don't know why anyone else getting this at B&H. I've been having to do that for quite some time. I'm not sure why. Okay, so the red Komodo, now you can get it brand new. Oh Lord, you can get it brand new for $3,000. Brand new for $3,000. The used market is gonna go crazy for this camera. So this item cannot be returned. Oh man, this is crazy. Free. Oh, so if I can buy it right now and get it, I didn't know they still had these brand new. I guess they still do. What does that tell you, really? Okay, so let's look at the specs real quick. Let's see. Some key features is yada yada yada. I'm not really worried about the megapixels. What I care about. Okay, there's resolutions. You've got 6K 40 frames, 5K 48, 4K 60, 2K 120. It's not the greatest set of resolutions, but it's decent. And now we're used to seeing like 4K 120 on cameras. What I'm more interested in is the dynamic range. This one has 16 plus stops dynamic range, which what's it called? Let's see. What's the dynamic range? What's that website that tests for the dynamic range? I forgot what it was called. DxOMark. Okay, so that's the one. So this website is dedicated to, oh my God. Look at all this. Jeez. Cookies, man. Okay. What? Let's go here. Camera sensors. What are you talking about? You telling me you haven't checked the red Komodo? Would it be under Nikon now? Oh God. Let me do it this way. Red Komodo DxO. What? Okay, anyways. I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. Never really. I could have sworn it was this DxOMark that tests the sensor dynamic range or whatever. Let's do red Komodo actual dynamic range. True dynamic range. Cinity. I could have sworn it would have been lab tests. Oh God, please. Let me do stops. So they claim 16 plus stops of dynamic range, and then independent from considerations, Imatest calculates 12.2 stops of dynamic range at a signal to noise ratio. Yada 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 yada. Pro is 422. So gosh. So 12 stops. actual. Compare it to like, whoa, windy. But anyways, it's still a great camera for $3,000. You're getting quite a bit. Where are we at? Where are we at? Are we here? No. Here we go. You're getting quite a bit for that camera. But here's what I really wanted to talk about in regards to the Red Komodo, and the price drop of the Red Komodo RF. Back in 2019 or so, Nikon released a camera, I think it was a Z6 or something like that, the Z6 or Z7, where you were able to record RAW, like a Nikon RAW video. I think it was called Z-RAW, I think it was, and they were suing Nikon for that because Red has a patent on true RAW, and so I think it was dismissed. The case was dismissed, and then years later, not that long ago, Nikon acquired Red. So what did Nikon do within the first few months or so of ownership of acquiring Red, or I don't know, the first half of the year, they released a Red Komodo with the Z mount, with the Nikon mount. Okay, now they're doing away with the Red Komodos by dropping the price by $2,000, which is insane. $2,000, that's a lot of money. So I just think it's funny that, Nikon has RAW, starts putting RAW in their cameras. Or not, it was let me see. It was a Nikon, a Nikon Z6 RAW. I think it was through the HDMI you can record RAW. So I don't remember. This is a long time ago, but I just think it's funny because Nikon puts RAW in their cameras. Red sues Nikon, and then Nikon acquires Red, and now Nikon drops the price of the Komodo RF, or Nikon releases a Red Komodo Z mount camera, and then reduces the price of the RF. And so it's kind of like, okay, where are we going with this? Where is Nikon going with, the future of Red? So I just think it's very interesting. Okay, and I'm not speculating on what's going to happen. It's just a perspective that's kind of like, maybe, let's sit back and watch and see what's going to happen. Okay, so next thing, Google Assistant when Google Assistant is phased out, what happens to our smart speakers? I have smart speakers. I have the Google Home set up. I have speakers almost in every room. I'm still working on some other stuff. So I got a speaker in my bedroom, speaker in my daughter's room, speaker in the bathroom, speaker in the kitchen, and a speaker in the dining room, speaker in the office. And so I got speakers all over the house. So I can say, hey, Google, or I shouldn't say it too loud. My bad if I activated your speaker. I'm like, hey, can you please turn on the lights, or, play music, or play YouTube on TV, do all this stuff, right? Everything's voice activated. It's awesome. I love it. I really enjoy it. But then I saw this article talking about when Google Assistant is phased out, what happens to our smart speakers? And then there's let me show you. There's an image of Hey Google getting crossed out. My bad if I activated your speaker. And there's Hey Gemini. So what's Gemini? This is my first. I think I've heard of it in the past. I've heard the name get tossed around, but I haven't really dug into it at all. So by the end of 2025, Google Assistant will no longer be available on mobile devices. The tech giant is retiring Google Assistant, whether you like it or not, and isn't stopping at phones and tablets. Cars, headphones, and smartwatches will all switch over to Gemini at a later date. So, however, the transition won't be the same for smart home devices. Google Assistant is the default voice assistant on all Google Homes and Nest devices, as well as many third-party manufacturers' smart home products. Google Assistant is a core feature of these products, so the switch to Gemini will likely have a bigger impact here than on our phones. So, how will this switch change? How will this switch change how we use our smart home devices? Well, Google promises a new experience for smart home devices. In Google's blog post announcing the demise of Google Assistant, the tech giant announced that they were bringing a new experience powered by Gemini to home devices like speakers, displays, and TVs. This statement is strangely ambiguous. While Google is clear that Gemini will fully replace Google Assistant on mobile devices, it suggests that something new is in the works for our smart home devices. Rather than the same Gemini experience on mobile, our smart home devices could host a unique implementation of the AI. Google isn't clear about what this new experience means for our smart home devices. However, by looking at Gemini's flaws, it's clear why Google might be taking a different approach to our smart home devices. Jesus Christ. Say smart home devices 10 times fast. Gemini struggles to respond to basic commands. Eek. Gemini is extraordinarily powerful. It can tell you whether an image is AI generated or edited, organize and summarize hundreds of documents, collate research reports from across the web, and hold human-like conversations. However, it still struggles with basic tasks. Ask Gemini for a pasta recipe and it will generate one in seconds, but ask Gemini to set a timer for boiling your pasta and it may tell you how to set a timer instead. Basic instructions like set a timer for 10 minutes seem to confuse Gemini, where Google Assistant excels at these simple tasks. This is I haven't used Gemini at all, so I don't know. Gemini also has a serious hallucination problem. While all generative AI chatbots hallucinate information, Gemini seems to be the worst offender. When testing the chatbot, I found that it would often invent trains if I asked it to list a schedule of train times. If I trusted Gemini, I would have turned up at the station with no train awaiting me. As tend to use Google Assistant, I feel like there's an error there. When I have my hands full, I have no trust. I have to trust that the answers it gives me are correct. Gemini hasn't earned that trust yet. I use Google Assistant daily to set timers at time. Yada. Okay, so Google Assistant is going away on our phones, on our mobile devices. And Gemini will essentially replace Google Assistant, is what I'm understanding. However, on the Google Home, will continue to use Assistant. And they're trying to use Gemini, but it's very buggy. So, of course, you need compatible devices to run Gemini. We'll have to wait for Google to explain what it means by powered by Gemini in the coming months. But it looks like your smart home experience will remain much the same. The biggest change current Google Assistant users will have to cope with is the potential change in hot word from hey you to hey you. You guys can see it right there. I don't want to say because I don't want to activate anybody's speakers or whatever. So I mean that's whatever. Next thing, like what? I saw this and I'm like, what? This can't be. Oh man. I don't know. I don't know about this one. Hold on. It's still warm, above warm, not hot, but it's dropping down in temperature, which I like coffee hot. Anyways, promise me you won't get too excited, but BlackBerry phones might be making a return. What? What is this? What? Okay, sit down for this one. I didn't even show you. Here we go. This is nuts. I don't know. I haven't read the article yet, but I saw this headline. I'm just like, no, man, who had a BlackBerry? Who had a BlackBerry? Okay, sit down for this one. If you're already seated, I don't know. You can get even comfier or something. Remember the BlackBerry phones? You know, those cool devices that had a physical keyboard and didn't feel terrible to type long passages on, unlike a software keyboard. Well, take this with a pinch of salt. Okay, a fistful of salt, but apparently it's coming back. Nah. BlackBerry phones may, and we really want to stress the may, come back. In a post on the BlackBerry subreddit, user Cold-Hearted Sigma shares a post saying that the BlackBerry is coming back. They cannot say what brand it is, share the completed design, or give us anything concrete at all, really. They claim they signed an NDA, which prevents them from saying more. If I'm being honest, it does reek of my dad works at Nintendo. Trust me, but holy hell, what if it's real? Here's everything they did say. Okay, so this is going off of what someone said. There's a UK-based startup company speaking to investors currently for a pre-seed funding round, and we were sent their pitch deck today. I managed to take a screenshot of the slide with their design and some specs. Looks like they are picking up where Onward Mobility slacked off. Some specs mentioned were 5G AMOLED display, 12 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigabytes, 512 gigs of storage, which these days are nothing. What? I got a terabyte on my iPhone. Android 15 generative AI capabilities, capacitive keyboard. What? Capacitive keyboard is not a physical keyboard. They also have a product roadmap for multiple QWERTY devices and are also negotiating exclusive licensing for BlackBerry patents. They are very much focused on productivity. Again, I can't stress how huge these pinches of salt need to be when digesting this information. There's a strong chance that it's nothing and will evaporate as time goes on, but there will be a sliver of hope from me. And I do hope this person isn't playing us all for fools. If it doesn't pan out, hey, at least we have companies to make BlackBerry-like accessories for existing phones. Like, what kind of BlackBerry-like accessory? Like, the Blackberries were like, I liked the BlackBerry. It was awesome. I liked the keyboard. The keyboard was cool, the physical keyboard. I had a BlackBerry, like one of the bigger ones with the full keyboard, and then I had a BlackBerry Pearl, which is like kind of similar to what is shown on here. Which were both great because like I remember they had an exclusive chat system. They had an exclusive chat so anybody with Blackberries can chat. Which nowadays, I guess in this era, in the age of like, you know, Facebook Messenger, Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, and how relevant is it going to be? We have smartphones that can do everything that a BlackBerry did and times, 100. We've got tablets now. We've got, ecosystems that work well together, like the Apple ecosystem. You've got the Android ecosystem, Windows. Everything is like, I had a Windows phone. I loved my Windows phone. It was amazing. I really enjoyed the Windows phone. But they weren't really that cool for a lot of people. I'm super techie, super nerdy, and so I thought it was cool. I liked Windows phones. But I don't know if BlackBerry, what can they possibly do to make a comeback, make a return? It's going to run Android, so it's not even like the BlackBerry operating system that they had before, which it was Research in Motion, I think, was the company. I don't know if they're still around, or if they're still doing things with Blackberries. I have no idea. But yeah, I just thought an article was interesting to see. A BlackBerry phone might be making a return, but is it the same BlackBerry that we used in the past? The same BlackBerry that we're used to? who knows? I don't know. But that's all I got for you today. If you guys found this very useful or interesting, we're gonna try to do these every weekday morning, so I can catch you guys before going to work every day at 7:30. Tomorrow, I'll see you guys tomorrow at 7:30. I don't know what I'm gonna talk about yet, but I'll find something, and then we can do that there. I'm starting a Patreon page, so that way for people that miss events but they want the information or they want the ability to network. I'm gonna figure out how I can either do a Patreon page where I can record that content that I shared at the event, but then also have a way for the people that show up to the events, have a place for them to get together and talk outside of the events. And so, because I want to keep the conversations going, I don't want people to just come once, meet a few people, and then leave. And it's like, oh, okay, I'm motivated. I want to start, my filmmaking career. But then it's like a few days later, it's like, oh, it wears down. It wears off. Oh, what was this person's name? Oh, I didn't get his contact information, their contact information, yada, yada, yada. So look out for that stuff. I'm going to be creating a platform where people that show up to the events, they're going to have access. Even if you just show up once, you're going to have access to this. But then if you are not able to show up to the networking events, you can still have access through a paid platform, possibly like Patreon, or maybe I'll create one myself and then get everybody together that way. So if you go to the event, I'm going to figure out a way so you can automatically get access. Or access to you might be a little bit cheaper because you do come to the events. But then if you can't come to the events, then you can still get access through a paid platform, if that makes any sense. So look out for that. I'm going to still figure out the logistics. I got to figure that out. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. Again, my name is Brian. Let me pull up my lower third. I'm a cinematographer from Chicago. And thanks. Like, share, subscribe, follow me on Facebook, YouTube, and I think we're live on Rumble as well. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks, man. Thank you all. Peace out. Let me figure that. Because I'm on the wrong. Here we go. All right. Bye, guys.